Well, good afternoon, and even though it's January 23rd, I'm still going to say Happy New Year. And I thank you for joining me for my first press briefing of 2025. January is often considered a month of preparation because it marks the beginning of a new year. It provides a fresh start to intentions, plans, and goals, and to lay the groundwork for the months ahead. Much like the one that we are doing right now and embarking for this new journey. So, in the spirit of preparation, I have organized my updates into 5 different categories. So, buckle up. Here we go. Number 1, the word for the year. First, as we look with hope and optimism for the year, my organizational word for the year is data. As the saying goes, in God we trust, all others must bring data. Why data? 3 reasons. Number 1, first, data is an extension of my 2024 word, which was bullseye. Data will help ensure that we are hitting the mark on our priorities every single time and with precision. 2, data is more important than ever in the era of fake news and misinformation. We must cut through the noise and again ensure that we're hitting the mark with accuracy and precision. And number 3, good data must guide good decision making. In the words of data scientist W. Edwards Deming, says the ultimate purpose of collecting data is to provide a basis for action or recommendation. He also says, without good data, you're just another person with an opinion. Good evidence will guide our good decision making. But I do have a caveat. In the end, good data will never replace good judgment, but it is essential to informing it. And my team and I are committed to using data to power everything that we do. Number 2, strategic doing action items unveiled for 2025. As this year brings both promise and responsibility, in my December press briefing, I previewed some of our action items for this year. Since that time, we have publicly launched our full list of 2025 strategic doing action items. And what I often say is this is our contract with the community. There are a total of 101 actions nested under these 5 pillars, which are all intentionally connected to the city's strategic plan based on also the feedback we've received from the community satisfaction survey, among other feedback that we have received from the community. 5 of the most impactful 2025 action items are as follows. Number 1, public safety. I'm excited as we continue to leverage and implement technology to improve our public safety efforts, from the work of our fire department with the Whole Blood program to our real-time crime center and the drone as a first responder program. The second item is infrastructure. We will develop a traffic safety plan this year. Number 3 is housing solution. We are looking forward to completing the housing needs assessment plan and also actions on what we're going to do with that plan. And number 4 is our economic vitality. We will provide workforce development support to key economic development partners. And the 5th one is community activation. We will launch a new Go COS platform for enhanced resident engagement. We will provide updates on our progress throughout the year and publish a final report. So visit cos.gov to monitor our progress in each of these 5 priority areas. And speaking of publishing a final report, the final strategic doing report for 2024 is also available on our website, and I also brought physical copies with me today. All right, number 3, wildfire preparedness. This topic has risen to the forefront of our collective minds because of the greater Los Angeles area wildfires. As a community who has dealt with 2 of the state's most destructive fires, the concern is real for many of our residents. On behalf of the city of Colorado Springs, I want to extend our heartfelt concern to the residents of the greater Los Angeles area. We are deeply moved by the tireless efforts of our first responders, emergency teams, and citizens rallying together during this difficult time. The people of Colorado Springs stands in solidarity with the people of Los Angeles, and I'm proud of our team of firefighters who have been deployed to support these emergency efforts. So the natural question out of the LA natural disaster has been, is Colorado Springs prepared? Is Colorado Springs prepared? And I'm here to say yes, and we're also continually preparing. I'd like to thank Fire Chief Randy Royal, Fire Marshal Brett Lacey, the Pikes Peak Regional Office Management Director Andrew Notbaum for their due diligence on our emergency preparedness plans. 4 key things the city has done to prepare for and will continue to prepare are, number 1, the city, in collaboration with Colorado Springs Utilities, conducts mitigation work. The city also promotes home hardening tactics with residents, HOAs, and neighborhoods through a variety of channels, including community town halls. And I'm here to announce that in 2 weeks, we'll be hosting a town hall February 6th from 6:30 to 8:30 at the fire department headquarters. In terms of mitigation, I want to highlight the city's recent work in Stratton Open Space, Austin Bluffs Open Space, and Fisher's Canyon. Additionally, Colorado Springs Utilities strategically mitigates areas to protect our utilities. We also hold annual evacuation drills, and we have improved our ability to provide emergency notification in multiple language. And the 4th item in terms of what the city is doing is through the Pikes Peak Regional Office of Emergency Management, we continually plan and evaluate the best ways to respond to wildfire. This includes coordination between agencies, public safety messaging, and advanced evacuation planning that leverages new technology. More to come on that. That said, it is important to remember that our collective primary focus in a wildfire event is preservation of life. I cannot state that enough. While rebuilding homes and losing possession is devastating, it does not compare to the loss of a family member, friend, or neighbor. Our number 1 priority in all of this work is saving the people impacted by wildfire. There are also many things residents can do to prepare, and I'll share 3 of them today. Number 1 is, first, please sign up for Peak Alerts, peakalerts.org, to receive official emergency notifications based on your home, work, or your children's school or more. You can pick to receive these alerts via text messages, emails, or phone calls, and you will receive these notifications no matter if you're at home or at work or on vacation. Number 2, create a go bag. Like in my household, we do have. Identify items and be ready to leave as soon as evacuation is recommended by emergency officials to avoid being caught in a fire, smoke, or road congestion. Download these plans or checklists at coswildfire.org. And the 3rd one is know if you live in a wildland-urban interface and how to practice mitigation techniques. And you can find that at coswildfire.org. All right, next is cold weather response. Another key and relevant area related to preparation is the coordination of around regional response to the Arctic blast that happened this past weekend. Our Office of Emergency Management provides leadership to the coordination of these efforts. The Colorado Springs Fire Department Homeless Outreach Program leads the city's support of individuals and families experiencing homelessness during periods of extreme cold. Along with my homeless and housing my homeless response and housing department and the Colorado Springs Police Department, Homeless Outreach Team, and the El Paso County Sheriff's Office, they all help coordinate the dissemination of available resources to residents experiencing homelessness. I can't brag enough of our public works crew who work hard to keep our streets clear and safe as possible, and our mountain metro transit folks who worked actively through the night and morning to assist with transportation. The City of Colorado Springs collaborates with many partners across the region to assist residents experiencing homelessness, and we have committed $40,000 to assist Hope COS for cold weather sheltering. 6 local shelters were open for this cold snap, and 824 individuals were sheltered, and we still had another available capacity of 306 beds. It takes a village to bring hope and to save lives, and I'm grateful for the excellent work of our many agency partners. I personally visited a Hope COS warming shelter at Sanctuary Church in Old Colorado City. I was moved by the servant leadership of Melissa Oskin. She is the executive director of Hope COS, and also got to interact with the dozens of volunteers banding together to serve our residents in need. It was also impactful for me to hear directly from individuals being sheltered to better understand their journey and their needs as well. I do want to personally thank everyone who made a donation of goods, time, or money to help those in need in our community this weekend. Together, we saved lives. And yes, you can still make donations. Items needed include hats, gloves, underwear, boots, hand and feet warmers, and more. And the fifth and final item is my trip to Washington, D.C. Another way I'm preparing for this new year is to make sure that Colorado Springs has a seat at the table in the decisions that impact us on the state and federal level. As the saying goes, if you're not at the table, you're on the menu, and I don't want us to be on the menu. I was in Washington, D.C. late last week to meet with leaders from both sides of the aisle to talk about the support that our city needs and expect. This included time with the newly sworn Congressman Jeff Crank, who was also recently appointed to the House Armed Services Committee and is working closely to help us communicate the importance of keeping U.S. Space Command where it belongs, right here in Colorado Springs. This is why I'm also proud to be part of the U.S. Conference of Mayors, and I took part in their winter meeting while I was in D.C. I have established important connections and open lines of communication with mayors across the country to learn from them and also to share with them. I also connected with the president of the National League of Cities, Steve Patterson from Ohio, to discuss how our city can partner with them to let our voice be heard in DC on issues that are important to the city of Colorado Springs, like public safety, transportation, and disaster preparedness. I had also planned to attend President Trump's inauguration to ensure that Colorado Springs has a seat at the table, but as you know, the ceremony was moved inside. Even though I had a VIP seat to be able to attend the outdoor ceremony, unfortunately, it was not good enough to get me to the rotunda as one of the 600 people that got to experience it live. It is important that I consistently spread the word about our priorities and our needs at all levels of government and maintain strong relationships with agencies and individuals who can help us achieve our goals as a community. What questions do you have for me?
So I'll first, Mayor. City council candidates have filed. Will you be endorsing any of them for the April election?
That's a great question. I believe we have 17 candidates that have filed, and 6 of them still have signatures to be cured. So we're talking potentially 23 candidates running, and at least 2 in every district. So that's great. And I want to thank every resident that has stepped up to serve. I know here tomorrow in this room, we'll be doing the picking the names out of a hat in terms of the placement of on the names on the ballot. And so we're paying attention to the race. We're paying attention to who's running, and I'm looking forward to my new colleagues that I'm going to be working with come April.
So no endorsements? Do you expect to?
No public endorsements, but that could always change. But for now, I'm paying attention, and I've actually met with most of the candidates running, because as you know, it's important for me as mayor to be able to work well with whoever wins, and so that's also a value that I keep in mind as well.
Gotcha. And one follow-up to that: most of the current city council members are not running for re-election, despite them being eligible. What does that say about the current collaboration of city council and just the direction of the city overall?
I think it speaks less to the direction of the city and just speaks more to the nature of the job. It's hard work. I know it firsthand. I feel it every day. Um, you do your best to make decisions, advance city flourishing, and it still comes with a lot of criticism and scrutiny. And so I respect the reasons why some of my colleagues are not running again, and I'm really proud of their 4 years of service and what they've given to this community, despite all the public scrutiny that they've received. Many of these leaders are good people, good humans. It speaks more to the nature of the political climate and also sometimes what keeps good people from running for office.
Can you talk a little bit about immigration, specifically like illegal immigration? Does Colorado Springs have any issues with it, and are you willing to work with the new administration?
Right. My intent is to have a good relationship with President Trump's administration. We've always enjoyed a great working relationship with the White House, and I look forward to a great relationship with President Trump's administration. We're paying attention to some of the orders, the executive orders, and some of the mandates that are coming from the White House. And we are actively discussing as a city amongst ourselves what that means. Because you have federal laws, you have state laws, and so how we engage is going to be telling. The rule of law is important to me as mayor, and so we're really just paying attention to some of those immigration mandates.
And you mentioned too that you met with Jeff Crank too when you're in DC. I'm guessing that came up also. Or?
Actually, that did not come up, believe it or not. A lot of what Congressman Crank and I talked about, believe it or not, was U.S. Space Command, the status of that. One of the things when we talk about the president's the president's executive orders, one of the things I'm really excited is that there were rumors that one of them would be about moving U.S. Space Command, and that has not been the case. So, knock on wood, fighting to actively ensure that it's here, working collaborative across the aisle, working even with the president himself, not directly, but with Colorado congressional members that have access to President Trump. So we talked about that. We discussed some of the grants, outstanding grants that the city is dependent on to advance some of our priorities around transportation, infrastructure, public safety. So a lot of the meeting was centered around that conversation, because those are things that we know. When it comes to the immigration conversation, there's a lot that we don't know, and frankly, there's a lot that has not been asked of me yet. So most of my engagement with this topic has been more or less speculation.
And just for the record, Colorado Springs, sanctuary city not?
Colorado Springs is not a sanctuary city and will not be a sanctuary city, and I have no intent to make it a sanctuary city.
Kind of building off the same topic, it was about a year ago where, we saw a bus carrying migrants arrive here in the area. Has anything like that happened recently or within the past year since then?
I want to be clear that there was never a bus of migrants that arrived. We received a lot of rumors and we took every single one of those stories seriously. And unfortunately, I call it a waste of taxpayer money. This is why this mayor is laser focused on data and the work ahead of us. And as we engage in rumors, as a cost to the city. So no bus of migrants arrived in our city. I know Denver has experienced that. Now, that said, we have had migrants sprinkle into our community with, and we know that primarily because of our nonprofit providers who work in the space of homelessness. We haven't seen any increase since February, when it was that month last year where it was a hot button issue, but we're paying attention to it. More than anything, I'm truly proud of Andrew Nottbaum and his team, and the table exercises that we do to just ensure that we're ready for any kind of emergency, whether it's a bus load or wildfire, or recently we're talking about the impact of wind, as we're seeing in the LA fires, in terms of how that really accelerate and the impact of that with fires. So we're always ready. We're always ensuring that we are ready. And I hope and don't expect to see a busload of migrants.
And then building off of that, is there any plans to track immigration or migrant status here in the area?
Say that again?
Is there any plans to track like immigration or migrant?
Oh, to track. We have no way of tracking it, and partly because immigration and immigration laws and activities are a federal responsibility. And so that is not something we currently track, but we have good communication with our nonprofit providers. So that is something to our Office of Emergency Management did last year. We were just kind of tracking who they were serving at the time, and we've seen those numbers go down.
Have you seen, in talking to them, you've talked a lot about the nonprofits in just a couple of these answers. Obviously, that was kind of what you referred to last year when you talked about the situation back in February. Have you had any conversations with them about any concerns that they may have about the people that they serve, given what has kind of transpired this week at the federal level?
Not as a recent. Last year, believe it or not, they were tracking it, but no real concern. Just because we haven't had the influx, like some other Colorado cities have had. Right now, I haven't heard from them. There are no concerns right now, and we don't expect any concern. That said, preparedness is a top priority of mine. We'll always be prepared.
Earlier this week, the Teller County Sheriff mentioned he was aware of some kinds of operations that may be taking place in Colorado in between your trip to D.C. And just in the last week. Have you heard of any sort of federal enforcement that may come to southern Colorado?
Not that I'm aware of. I'll tell you what I've done is and my chief of police is assisting me. What I'm doing is to bring in a number, like our local law enforcement folks, so to connect with Joe Roybal, our county sheriff, and Michael Allen, DA, just so that we understand, again, preparedness, so that we understand what the laws are around immigration, but also less even just undocumented migrants, more around law enforcement dealing with undocumented residents who may have committed crime. I think that's more of truly a hot button issue, and we just want to further understand how we respond.
We actually spoke to some undocumented folks here in Colorado Springs yesterday. Is there anything that you want to say to them, or I guess anything you want to address directly to those individuals? Yeah,
and one of the things I want to make clear is that we're a nation of immigrants. It's part of who we are as a country. This mayor came in as an immigrant, and immigrants add to the quality of life and vitality of this great city and region and of our great country. So I'm grateful for so many of them that are adding to the flourishing of our community. And it's important that we separate facts from gossip, facts from fiction. So there's a lot of chatter right now. And like I told the pastors of our community when they asked me this question, I met with our pastors about 2 weeks ago, and I said, what I do expect is what I pay attention to, and what I'm seeing coming out of the White House is more around the safety of our nation and public safety. In the same way as mayor, safety is a top priority of mine. And when people commit crime, whether they're U.S. citizen or foreign-born, it doesn't really matter. We hold them accountable. And I would encourage them not to fret, but to say, I believe that is truly the focal emphasis of the immigration conversation right now.
Mayor, we know last legislative session, El Paso County Sheriff Joe Roybal was one of the people pushing to kind of repeal current law that limits him from working with federal immigration authorities. Are you on that same path? Are you hoping to see legislation introduced this session to take away those limitations?
Yeah, I will speak for myself, not for the city of Colorado Springs. And my perspective truly aligned with the governor's perspective. When it comes to the safety of my community, yes. One of the challenges that we have right now is the current law as it is written really prevents us from working with the feds when it comes to criminals. And I want to be clear that I'm talking about people who commit crime. Again, whether you're U.S. born or U.S. citizen or foreign born, we must hold you accountable. And if that leads to further action by the federal government, I welcome that. And so it's one of the things I do know our county sheriffs are trying to figure out, because their hands are tied in terms of how to deal with crimes. Yeah.
Gotcha. Just from my understanding, you're saying yes, the sheriff's office should be able to communicate with, say, ICE if they have someone who's an undocumented individual.
When they have someone who's an undocumented individual who's committed crime, absolutely.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And saying you agree with the governor, that was from his State of the State address, where he kind of
That was from
made
the
that
state.
sentiment kind of clear, which was kind of different from years past.
Yes. Yeah, because the governor has expressed his desire for Colorado, the state of Colorado, to be one of the top 10 safest states in the country. He said that repeatedly. And the U.S. News and World Report, I think as of last year, reported it wasn't a great report of Colorado in terms of safety. I think we're in the bottom of that list. And it's something that we must take seriously. The safety of my residents, it's a top responsibility of mine. It's a top responsibility of government. Nobody else has that responsibility but government, whether it's local, state, or federal. So I share that sentiment of the governor that that's of top priority. Again, whether you are an American citizen or you're foreign born or here undocumented, people who commit crime must be held accountable, bottom line.
Have you had any communications with like NorthCom, since they're now doing the logistics to seal the southern border of the U.S.? And I guess it's coming out of NorthCom here in Colorado Springs.
No, I have no communication about that.
Change of pace here. What are you most excited about in this plan for the year? Like, what's your maybe favorite action item?
I'd say this is thank you for that question, by the way. This is not the plan for the year. We do have the plan for the year, and I'll get back to your question. What you're holding is a report from 2024. It was not enough to just tell you that we're going to do these things. This is why strategic doing is really important to city government. The focus is on action. It focuses on deliverables and what we're getting done. And yeah, we accomplished about 80% of the things we said we're going to accomplish, and it's in the categories of public safety, infrastructure, housing, economic development, and community vitality. Because I'm speaking to the public, I do want to, again, give them kudos for really taking their mental health seriously and ownership around that. The U.S. Surgeon General has called that one of the biggest crises of our time, and an unhealthy mind still remains the root cause of many of the challenges that I deal with as mayor, whether it's domestic violence or abuse or homelessness or teen suicide. And if we don't take care, if we don't go upstream, we will, at the end of the day, there's a financial cost to the city. I've been clear that I don't want to just be in the business of responding to 911 calls. I also want to help prevent some of these incidents from happening in our community. So that's what I'm really excited about. In 2025, like I mentioned earlier, in each of these categories, I highlighted a few things. But I'll tell you what I'm really excited about was yesterday I had a full-on demo of the real-time crime center and the drone as a first responder program. And boy, it is, excuse my French, badass. It really just opens a lot of opportunities for us in the area of public safety to improve our response time, to have just eyes on the issue even before our officers get there. And one of the best parts of the demo was, as I'm watching this in real time, information that our officers have in advance of encountering a suspect really, believe it or not, helps with our work of de-escalating cases. And so as I watched a couple of demos, it was just great to see that before the officers interacted with the suspect, they already knew what they were engaging in, so they didn't have to worry about a weapon, and it's a whole different experience. So I'm really excited about the improvements these technologies really does to enhance our public safety experience. So again, from fire department to public safety, to officers and the Office of Emergency Management, expect to see technology as the way forward in terms of how we prepare ourselves, but also how we respond to any kind of emergencies.
So just to make sure we're understanding right, this is the what you got done from last year.
This is last year.
And then the 2025 strategic doing action minutes is the plan for the following year
There
on
you
the
go.
website.
It's on the website. Both are on the website, but I wanted to bring you guys copies of 2024.
Appreciate it.
Thank you for your time today. Appreciate you guys. Yep.